Safety desk, health officials in the U.S. monitoring some cases of measles. Emerson, this is becoming more of a concern.
Yeah, that's correct, Tammy. A medical facility in Sacramento, California, working to contact roughly 300 people who may have been exposed to the measles. Doctors at UC Davis Health say a child was treated for the highly contagious disease on March 5th after traveling abroad. And here in the Midwest, Chicago confirming its first case of measles since 2019. Doctors there sharing this message.
This is not a cause for panic or cause for alarm. It's called for good prevention, which is immunization.
Now, as of last Thursday, 45 cases have been reported so far in 2024 in 17 states here in the U.S. Wisconsin not on that list, but Minnesota, Michigan, and Illinois are. Steve?